To order. If you will, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And each month we share a portion of our vision, mission, and belief statements. And this month, we believe that all students have the ability to learn, are important, and have unique skills to contribute successfully to our world. We believe in a valued, highly qualified, team-oriented staff that cares for, supports, and teaches every student to their full potential every day. We believe that support and teamwork among our school district, families, and the community provide the most effective learning outcome in and out of the classroom. We believe in relevant, inclusive, engaging curriculum that appropriately prepares students for their life endeavors. And now on to recognitions. From the elementary, do we have any today?
So the principals are technically off at this point in the summer. So Mr. Dean's going above and beyond by being here, and I'll let him do middle and high school ones. But I did have one recognition I wanted to point out, and Mr. Bradburn did put it on Facebook today, but we had a 100% pass rate for iRead if you include the good cause exemptions. And so that's a huge accomplishment, but it's really a team effort when you think of the students are taking the test and trying to learn. The teachers and the staff are the ones working with them, and the parents are supporting at home. And so when all those pieces come together, we have great success. And so 100% of our third graders, according to the new state laws, get to move on to fourth grade. So nobody gets held back. So congratulations to all of them.
Yeah, thank you. Now the middle and high school.
Yeah, start out with summer school. We concluded that last Thursday. We had 16 days. We had 22 students enrolled in summer health, so they got their high school health credit. And we had 18 students that were in credit recovery, credit accrual, and 18 credits were earned through that. We had, I believe, about 15 students in driver's ed, I think, 15, 16, somewhere in that number. So that was, it was good time. Mr. Dunkley and Brandon Cummings, and of course, Ms. Fagan and Mr. Barnhart took care of driver's ed. So kids did a good job. They were here and produced. We had SWIAC all conference for spring sports. Bo Busenberg was all conference. He was the long jump champion at the conference meet for track. Dylan Warnick was all conference for baseball. We had 4 selections for softball. Let me retract here real quick. We changed the way that all conferences selected in the conference. It's no longer voting by the coaches. It is based on your placement in the conference. So if you're first or second, you get 4 places, so forth down the line. That's how it goes. Had been voting for many years, and but it's not one school. There's 9 schools that are involved in it, or 8, 9. And so they voted to do that. So softball finished second in the conference and got 4 all conference. Lila Kuntz, Addison LaFree, Quinn Clune, and Isabella McIntosh. We had Millie Allen was all conference for tennis. Holden Wiseman and Blake Neal were all conference for golf. Sadie Ross and Maddie Stone were honorable mention for tennis, and Caleb Kerr and Calvin Myers were honorable mention for golf. So productive spring there for Bloomfield Athletics, our individual athletes. Big announcement for our Bloomfield FFA. Senior Calvin Myers was voted on. He is going to be a state officer next year, which means that he will take a year off of college, and that's a full-time position. He is the Southern Indiana Vice President. And so, by my recollection, I believe that's the second state officer that we've had. Sawyer Sparks was our first, who was the Southern President. So Calvin will have his responsibilities with FFA and be traveling around the state next year, and has delayed his enrollment into Purdue. So he'll be enrolling 26, 27 at Purdue. So congratulations to Calvin. It's a very big honor. It really is. So we had 2 state farmers at the state conference, or 2 students that earned their state farmer degree, Allie Walls and Darian Dunnigan. That's a big honor in itself. So congratulations to them. Well, Dr. Vandre mentioned the ME Academy earlier. We've been working on this now for a year and a half, and in conjunction with or collaboration with Bloomfield, Washington Community Schools, and Lagodi Community Schools. So those are the 3 schools that are filling into it. We have 3 students next year, and so this will be treated like their schedule will be like a Hoosier Hills schedule. They'll be here 3 periods of the day, and then they will go to the down at Westgate. So they don't have to travel to Bloomington. They only got 8 miles, 10 miles to travel. But they will be, it's a 2-year program. These are 3 juniors that are going into that. They will have their pathway in digital electronics. And the goal of this is number one, we're partnering with Reliable Microelectronics, Reliable Microsystems. And they're going to be, we've hired a instructor. I was a part of that interview committee with representative from other 2 school districts and that. Like I said, it's a 2-year program, so they go in as juniors. We'll finish up. It is a paid internship. This is ROI is kind of the umbrella around it that's helping out with that. So I know you've heard them for a long time. Their partnership with us and other schools in the uplands. So really excited about the 3 students that are going to be a part of that, and just really what it will entail, and looking for that to grow. And it's not just us looking for that to grow, but it's the advisory committee and the other schools. We'd love to see it. I think there's 13 students this first year, so we'd love to see that in a year or 2 more double. We have the old SAIC building down at Westgate, 2nd floor, not the whole building, but the 2nd floor. And when I was recruiting, I actually took a couple of the students. We just took a school car and took off one morning during advisory and went down and walked through. And the lady was so nice. I mean, she didn't know us from anybody, but we just told her what we were doing, the receptionist down here. So she led us up to the floor, which, was just an open floor plan. I mean, it was neat and gave the kids an idea, an opportunity to see what they're going to do. So looking forward to that. And then finally, this month we had 2 conferences that we attended. I had 3 teachers, Miss Bonner, Miss Burton, and Miss Carazia. Myself and Miss Evans attended the Early College Summit at New Palestine High School on June 4th. That was an all-day event, but it was a great experience. We attended there last year, and this year was our second time. So really got a network with a lot of good schools, other schools around the state. And then last week, we went to the Ignite to Write conference, which is sponsored by Smeckens. And that is a big, they focus 6+1 writing traits. And I took my whole English department. We went down there and, had 2 intensive days there of good work and good material. It won't hurt that it was also a French lick, which is nice. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. And for public comments, we do have one signed up here, Molly Strange.
Can you just stand right there? Or can I just stand right here?
Stay right there if you like.
Hello, my name is Molly Strange. I'm a student here at BJHS, and as you probably all know, recently the state cut the JAG program from its funding. As you also probably know, recently JAG was just added to the junior high for 7th and 8th graders to have a 12-week rotation class this year, while the high school has had JAG for about 3 years, being forced to take all year. As I mentioned, the junior high JAG is a rotation class. I was fortunate enough to have both this year and be in the fourth rotation class again. Now, I don't know very much about the high school JAG and their voting styles, but I would like to imagine that it's doing something right, considering Miss Gregory was awarded most memorable teacher at graduation out of the whole catalog of amazing and funny teachers in the high school. Now, what I do know is how great the junior high JAG program is. Once again, I'm mentioning it's only a 12-week class course, but in that little time, I learned so much about myself and what career paths would be good for me. The teacher who was Mr. Boris immediately made us all feel welcome towards him, and with his unique teaching style, it made learning very fun. We had us doing projects, group activities, games, and just basic note taking. In my rotation class, he asked us all on the first day how we learned best, and we used that to teach us in the best way he did. Not only was Mr. Boris great in the teaching sense, but he is also amazing in the sense of getting to know his students. For the little time he had all of the 7th and 8th graders, I bet he could tell you at least one thing about every one of them. I also bet he has a nickname for most of the students, and we have plenty for him as well. Mr. Boris built friendships with all of his students, so much so that when most of us found out Jag was leaving, we got upset, including me because, no joke, I cried for an hour just ask my dad. My point here is Jag is a great program with amazing teachers, and even if there's nothing you can do, I would like you guys to consider hiring Mr. Boris and Ms. Gregory to be school hire teachers in that state place and giving them a paycheck because despite all of this, Jag is a wonderful program, and no matter what you can do, you should be kept in some way, shape, or form.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good done.
Go to Mike's office right now.
Hey, she should just speak for everybody. Look at her.
Yeah.
She's got it down.
Yeah, exactly. All right, on to routine business. And our first one is the meeting minutes of the May 29th regular sessions. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Thank you. And then the meeting minutes of the May 22nd executive session. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. And then the treasurer's report for this month. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay. And then our list of personnel for this month. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion. We approve.
And a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? And then our donations for this month. We'd like to appreciate Hare Realty and MAB Insurance for their generous donations to the high school cheer program. Do I have a motion to approve?
Approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you very much. And then the fundraiser request for this month. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. And then the cooperative network agreement with the Greene County Foundation. Little comment about that, or?
This is just the next step in the process as we continue to move forward with the child care facility. Just our agreement with them on how the funding from the Lilly grant will be handled and our responsibility of moving things forward with construction, which one of my updates I'll give later is where we're at with that process.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll approve.
Okay,
Second.
and second, all in favor? Okay, thank you. And then the proposed Bloomfield Elementary School student handbook for the 2025-2026 school year. Is there any comments or questions?
I have a couple of questions. I know that you would probably have to ask Mr. Bradburn, Scott, but, so it mentioned in there visitors for the elementary. Are parents still allowed to come eat lunch with their kids on Fridays?
I don't think they've done it for a while.
I don't either. I know this stopped with COVID, but, I had a parent ask me and I was like, I have no idea. So I told him I would ask.
I can definitely find out, let you know.
And then I also wondered about the field trips. They used to, I think Mary Jane had put in a rule that they were allowed to take one per semester plus walking field trips. Is that still the case, or is it?
I think the limits can be 2, but I don't think it's based on per semester, but more per year.
Okay.
The walking field trips, an issue that we've ran into over the past couple of years that we've tried to correct is it's still a field trip. They're still leaving the building, so parents still need to sign permission slips.
Right.
And there's been a couple of times when teachers have taken a field trip and not done those steps. And so I know like the March 20th is an example where nobody went to Dairy Queen for the free ice cream cone that they were giving out, but it was because none of the teachers planned ahead to get the field trip. They're leaving the building, they're walking, parents need to know and approve it. So when they were asking that morning, there's no way you can turn around parent, permission slips for everybody. Some parents could, but then it's not the whole class. So, and I know like even going to the park, for example, is another one that would be, walking distance, but they're still leaving the building. They're still going off our property. And we want to work with the town. Thursdays and Fridays is when they mow. So we don't want to do it on those days. And Mr. Jackson has reminded us a few times of that because some people have still done it. So yes, that's still part of it. Going back to the principle that you mentioned, but also with a cost savings and an educational focus, that limit of 2 is part of those 2 issues as well. So yeah.
Okay.
But I'll get you the answer on parents coming in, and if it's not happening, then we can reconsider allowing it again. I like parents coming in and being part of the education, seeing their kids. So
We don't want to turn down anyone's money in the cafeteria either.
there's that too. But
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion, we approve.
I'll second.
Second, all right, thank you. All in favor? Okay, and then the proposed Bloomfield Middle School, Bloomfield High School student handbook for the 2025-2026 school year. Any questions or comments about that? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve? Okay, and a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Thank you. And then the school safety specialist. This is an annual recommendation or requirement? Yeah.
Annual requirement now. Marvin's been our school safety specialist. We have to identify one person and make sure they have all the training, but we actually have more than one person that has done training, and it's free training. There's grants, but the state covers that training fee. So I would like to see us continually expand everybody or the number of staff members that go through it. But on a state requirement level, we now have to do have you guys approve the school safety specialist every year. So you're going to start seeing this every June, and Marvin will be the one that we put on.
Yes. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion, we approve.
All right, and a second?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor? Okay. And then recommendation to start girls varsity golf team. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve? All right, and a second?
I'll say.
All in favor? Okay, thank you very much. And then board policy updates. The second reading, we had the first reading last month. Is there any questions or comments on this? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
And I'll second.
Second, all in favor? Okay. And then the new board policy on social media use. Do I have any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
All right, and a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Thank you very much. And then volume 37, number 2, changes on the policies. Do I have any questions or comments on all of those?
I'd like you to read off.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna turn the AC on if
Can
we'll
you
be here that
explain
long. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion, we approve.
All right, thank you. And a second?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor? All right. And then volume 37, number 2, policy 5462, the second reading. Said,
No vote.
okay, this is the one, yes. So this was a requested change, so this will be basically a first reading of the changes with a second reading for next month. Any questions or comments at this time? Okay, we'll see this again next month then. And then on to our director's report.
Speaking of heat, our marble floors are sweating up there. Careful, yeah, it's about fell. Yes, I'm here to talk on behalf of our athletic department. Of course, a lot of the things that you guys see from an athletic director standpoint is probably at a home event. Obviously, we're forefront in everything in terms of taking care of money, getting gate workers, concession stand workers, supplying the proper security. And of course, like I said, it's almost like I never sit down at an athletic event because there's always something going on. From hosting the teams, hosting our officials, being good hosts for those individuals to ensure that they want to come back to Bloomfield. But I'm going to hit on 3 things this evening. One is the hidden work that we do, not only myself, but my athletic secretary, Janice. I'm also going to hit on the successes that we've had in my first year here at Bloomfield. And then, of course, we're going to hit on some areas of improvement that I think that we do need. So like I said, a lot of the stuff you see me, do from maybe at 5 o'clock in the afternoon till 9 o'clock, whatever, but you don't see what goes on to ensure that those events are run properly and correctly during the day. And primarily, like I said, you can do a lot of that stuff in the morning. I have a central hub of 2 online outlets. That's my EventLink scheduler, as well as my IHSA athletic director's website, MyIHSA. I use that event scheduler. That's my primary tool of work, and I use that to schedule, obviously, our events, either on a 2-year rotation or a 4-year rotation. And also I use that tool to get new contracts made with other athletic directors, and it also gives me a direct link to those schools. I can, if I've got to make a change or we've got to do a cancellation, I can go to that event right there, and I can get in contact with that school, right off the bat. Another thing with that is I can schedule our officials. We have to have officials. If you don't have the proper officials, basically that event is deemed illegal and it cannot happen, or it's a forfeit. So I always go there and I can check which officials are available. And as an athletic director that I've been doing this for the last 9 years, I try to stay a year in advance. So as of right now, for every home event that we have for next year, I already have every official hired for those games. And of course, things come up, so an official has to cancel. Usually they're good with getting with me and finding someone, or I can use that EventLink scheduler and find out who's the closest and who's available. Also, with my EventLink scheduler, I set up transportation. Okay, and then of course we communicate those times and dates with our coaches, as well as we use those to for our practices. That allows coaches, of course, EventLink has that app. Anything that I may do, if you're a subscriber to that app, if I cancel something, change something, I can always push that out to our school and our community, and you will see that come across your phone. But that's what we use our practices for with our coaches. Then, of course, we use it for securing other facility usage for maybe our music department or other clubs or the elementary if they want to use the Ox Gym or the Glover Gym or even the junior high gym. With that aspect, going to the MyIHSA, that is another tool that I have to use because I have to update the state of Indiana every year, especially in the month of August, about what's our participation numbers. Has something changed? Have we added a sport? Of course, now I can go into my IHSA and I have to go tell the IHSA directors, hey, Bloomfield now has a girls golf team, so then therefore they can put us into the state tournament moving forward. It also allows me to keep track of my coaches on a monthly basis, because our coaches have to have 5 classes through the NFHS Learn that they have to have. If they do not have it, they cannot be in contact with our student athletes. And so usually that, and it updates every 2 years. So they have to have concussion, heat illness, cardiac arrest, protecting students against abuse, and then of course mental health. And they have to take that. And it'll always tell me, hey, if you don't have that, you can't come back here to practices and be in contact with these students until it's done. So I try to stay on top of that as a monthly basis. And the state's very good at letting me know. And then of course there's other things, sports change. The NFHS may change a rule. And of course that they do that. I will alert my coaches. They have to go online. They have to take that course and go through the proper training to know, hey, this is a new rule change. And then, of course, from my aspect, it tells me when I have to put in our student athletes so they can be a part of the state tournament postseason. And there's lots of other little things in there that's good for me for member messaging. If I've lost a game, I can go in there and be like, hey, our elementary boys lost the game. Is anyone looking for a game? We'd like to play on this date, and then it'll send it out, and then it's usually pretty good use. Other things that we do, behind obviously is funding. Bloomfield Athletics we have very, very healthy athletic fund. And that's just from past practices, with our former ADs, I know Coach McBride, he was a big stickler on money, but he did a very good job. And of course, we've got some nice fundraising things that we do, and really and truthfully, it's our community sports support is just very, very good. I've been at 2 other county schools, and this by far has the best community support in terms of coming to the games or even just giving donations and funding and helping out here and there. The big thing with our athletic department obviously is the ribeyes during the Apple Festival. We used to have a golf scramble, and I am bringing back the golf scramble on September 27th. So I will start again. I will turn in a fundraiser thing for that for the July board meeting. And then I will go out and start getting sponsors, and I think that will probably bring in another $6,000 or $7,000 for our athletic department yearly. Which again, then I use those funds to properly equip our athletic teams. Of course, now with a girls' golf team, more than likely I'll probably maybe have to buy some sets of clubs that they can use. Obviously, new uniforms, and then of course, the big thing with our funding is maintaining athletic facilities, and another big one is our uniform rotations. I bought some teams, some uniforms from last year. Volleyball just got equipped with new ones. Girls softball just got equipped with new ones, and then I just bought a new set of home uniforms for our girls basketball team. And with our uniform rotation, it's on. We have a spreadsheet, and that's how we track it. And they basically get to re-up it every 4 years. So those are the big things that we use our funds for. And like I said, Janice will give me a monthly printout sheet of where we're at. And then, like I said, coaches will always want something. They want something new for their training or something like that. So we'll assess, is it necessary for them to have? But usually, like I said, we buy the basics, the game balls and everything else. And of course, game balls anymore, I just spent $350 on 4 new soccer balls for game balls. That's just ridiculous. And I've got to get new nets for our soccer field. I bought a new painter for our soccer field, which will definitely make our soccer field look a lot better. So that'll be good.
The grass is green.
Huh?
If the grass is green.
Yeah, it's not brown, sorry. Yeah. And then of course, like I said, we try to stay active. I try to stay active on the social media. I started that Bloomfield Athletics page. Try to pump out, schedules for our kids, cancellations, additions, successes of not only our teams but our, athletes. And then of course, I share if I have one of our, teams that have their own Facebook page, I usually try to share that to again just pump life and basically get our student athletes and how the great things that they've done. And I'll continue to do that as we move forward. Like I said, switching to areas of improvement, I think especially with our coaches, there's always new things that they can learn. So one of the things is I talked with Mr. Dean a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna start like a coaches athletic council, and how we do with our leadership meetings monthly. I'm going to bring them in monthly, and we're going to talk about what's good, what's bad, what's not working, what are some new things we can do to not only get, obviously, more athletic participation, but also more community support. And like I said, just always continuing to grow and learn. So that's something I'm going to do this year is every month we're going to meet and we're going to talk about the things that we can do to help. And then, of course, there's all kinds of online things that these coaches can get onto and, do more professional development themselves. It's like I've tried to tell these kids, we're here for the kids. Most of these kids that are athletes, their sports are not going to be their life. So how can we help them grow and learn through athletics to be, a good citizen, a good person, a lifelong learner, moving forward. So that's kind of some of the areas of improvement. And then doing the same thing with my assistant coaches as well, trying to help them out. Facility wise, like I said, we just resurfaced our track, which looks very, very nice. Like I said, our gyms are great to have. So we have very nice facilities. I mean, there's some things every now and then, of course, I use those athletic funds to get new goals or, like I said, I got to buy new soccer nets and so on and stuff. So that's something that we'll be able to do. And then successes, hitting on our successes. We've had several, individual successes this year. A lot of, academic all-conference kids as well as just all-conference kids. Team champions wise, we didn't have any sectional, winners this year. But we did have, like our junior high volleyball team won the SWIAC. So that's good for our volleyball teams, moving forward. And our high school boys golf team won the SWIAC championship for the first time in 20-something years. Yeah.
Really mid-90s.
Yeah. So, and then of course, like I said, I know I don't have to, but I'm going to just to get those kids out there. Like our fall sports athletes who were either all conference or honorable mention. Will Dowden in tennis, he was the singles champion. Blake Neal was honorable mention. Owen Medina and Andrew Barker. Malia Pischel was honorable mention in cross country, and she also signed. She is going to go run at Rose-Hulman. And then, as well as Haley Britton and Addison LaFree in volleyball. Another thing is for our winter sports athletes, Ethan Davis, Malia Pischel, and Adeline Fig were all academic conference, as well as Davis and Fig, they were all state academics. Blake Neal, Tyler Patterson, and Lance Workman were all conference for our boys basketball team. Adeline Fig and Lainey Graves were for our girls basketball team. In the spring, Dylan Warnick was the all-conference in baseball. Softball, we had 4, Lila Kuntz, Addison LaFree, Bella McIntosh, and Gwen Clune. Tennis was Millie Allen, Maddie Stone, and Sadie Ross. And then for our golf, we had Holden Wiseman, Blake Neal, Caleb Kerr, and Calvin Myers. And then track, Bo Busenberg won the long jump. We had some junior high individuals who finished high in junior high track. Amelia Graves was a champion. Tristan Kinder was a champion. And so was Caden Dickinson. And then circling back in the fall, Zayden Graff won the junior high cross country SWIAC. So as you can see there, we had a lot of good successes with those individuals. And above all that, our numbers in participation are continuing to grow. We're trying to pump some life and trying to find some new ways. Lately our girls basketball program has been down. So we're hoping we have a very, very good junior high program, and they're pumping things up. And we got a lot of middle school kids that are going to be up there. And then, of course, as well as cross country. Cross country is a big thing of mine. Obviously, I was a cross country runner in track in college. So that's something that I want to see get revived. And we got some good new coaches, good new young coaches. So hopefully they can, pump some life into that and bring it back to where it used to be. Other than that, like I said, I just want to express my gratitude for all of you and allowing me to take over this position. And like I said, I will continue to improve myself and do the best I can, not for only for our student athletes, our coaches, and our community. That's all I have.
I love the idea that you mentioned of doing the monthly professional development type thing. So my question is, will that be, and you may not know that answer yet, and that's fine, but will that just be so during the months of whatever sport is happening at that time, it'll be required for them, or is that going to be all the coaches coming together
It'll be all of us.
all at once, no matter whether that sport is
Yeah.
in season or
So
not?
any head coach, and like I said, we just bring, and it's like, they don't have to be extensive meetings, but let's sit down, eventually I'll have some talking points and I get feedback on what the coaches think. And then of course, they give me what they would like to see happen. And then of course, we start to implement that thing.
I like that.
So that's gonna be, and another thing is I've reached out, we're gonna create a new athletic handbook as well as put out a coach's handbook so we can keep up to date with that.
I'll proofread it.
Kayla. Good, Kayla.
That's the way.
Yeah.
So did you get all your coaches' positions filled in elementary? I know you were looking for some coaches.
I actually just found a 6th grade boys basketball coach today.
Good deal.
He sent me out of the blue. I was speaking to a parent, and she was going to take it over for a while. And then I opened up my email this morning and it says, "Hey, I'm interested in the 6th grade boys basketball coach." So I've already emailed him, and we'll get it on the July board meeting to have him approved.
Very good.
Deal.
Any other questions or comments?
Good job.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just say that you probably have the easiest job because you have the least amount of parent complaints probably. If anybody.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually not.
It's like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you, Nate.
And on to the superintendent's report.
So I had a few updates. One exciting piece is, as of right now, teachers, staff positions were fully staffed. Awesome to be at that point here in late June. It sets us up for success. Wanted to give a construction progress update. So everything is on schedule or ahead of schedule except for one piece, and that is the art room. They're putting in new casework, and we found out that the delivery date for the casework is going to be later than expected. So that's put a delay there. But if you were to walk by, not in because it's a construction site, but the science rooms, you would see that they've been completely demolished. They have been painted. They've got the ceiling put back in. They've got the flooring in as well. So things are moving along. It's kind of nice to go and see the progress each day. There is an additional door being put on the west side of the weight room so that we can meet fire marshal codes and also keep it locked and secured. That is actually slightly ahead of schedule. And then I also wanted to bring up, hopefully you saw my Facebook post where I interviewed Wyatt LeGrand. A really cool project that I went to him and challenged him to do. I mean, we've got not only a phenomenal art teacher and phenomenal person, but he's also a professional artist on staff. So we worked it out for him to do the lower and the upper A hallways. And if you watch the interview, one thing I was trying to point out is he's so creative that I didn't want to tell him what to do. I wanted him to come up with the idea, and so he did, and it really lighted up that hallway. So when you come in the main doors, it's nice and bright, it's open, new commons area come down. But what I noticed is when you get to the A hallway, it kind of like gray lockers and just white walls. And so I wanted to liven it up, but I wanted something that reflected Bloomfield schools. And that was all that I told Wyatt. And he said, well, we're here for students. And so, but as you all know, I went through a process to make sure that we had parent permission. And so we sent out an email to all the parents, 5th through 12th grade. And so that's who's up there. He went and took pictures of them, and it's absolutely amazing what that guy can do. Then I also want to give an update on the child care facility. Hopefully I can just each month give you an update on construction for the child care facility and also construction here for our big projects. But we have an architect who has the plans drawn. We've had that for a while. yesterday, the other county superintendents and I met to do interviews with construction management companies, and we chose one. One of the questions I was asking is we had a proposed timeline, and hopefully only Bloomfield people watch this, but not only did I tell you that we're getting the most money, our project will be done first as well. So we're all competitive. So I asked each of them that we interviewed about the timeline that we put out, and they said it's very generous. They think they can actually beat it as well. What you're going to see by December is we should have not the whole outside done, because they want the foundation put in. It's important to get that before the ground starts to freeze each night. And then they want it done before it starts to get really cold so that they can work on the inside part. They are hoping to be done by April of next year, but with construction, what I am going to keep pushing is I just want to make sure that we're ready to go to be operational for the start of the 26-27 school year. So from a realistic standpoint, as long as we keep moving step by step through the process, we should be good, and we're working in those lines. So, yeah.
Good. Thank you. And is there any board member comments and items for future agendas?
I've got a comment here. I've had the privilege this year having the foreign exchange student join my family, and I'd just like to express pride and gratitude to our school. She had a fantastic year and was just welcomed in to the school system and any activities that she chose to get involved in. It makes me really proud of our school and of our faculty. We have a phenomenal bunch of teachers, and they really do put kids first. I can't imagine being thousands of miles from home and trying to go about my daily business, but everyone here made her so welcome that she's more upset about having to go home, because in her country people are more reserved. They're not, how are you, what have you been up to, haven't seen you for a while. It's all just to the point. Here's what has happened, here's this, here's that. And she says, I'm going to miss that, and she's going to miss sweet tea. I really appreciate our school and all of our faculty members for, that's just one example of what they do for students here every day.
Yeah. Thank you.
So like this so much too, you're gonna do it again, right?
Well, I was told.
All right. Any other comments? All right. Our future meeting, there will be a, regular school board meeting on July the 31st at 6 p.m. here in the high school media center. And this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. All right.
I'm actually going on vacation. I never missed it.
Stairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the
I don't know. Sam,